Hi everyone, this is Ruchi Kulkarni presenting to you the chapter The 100 Dresses Part 1 from Class 10th book First Flight. This chapter is written by L. Besor Esther or Eleanor Estes. We often judge the people around us by their wealth, possession, and status. But as they say, never judge a book by its cover. This story justifies the said idiom. Discrimination can be at any level, starting from the denial of rights to as low as bullying in schools. Wanda Petronsky was one such Polish immigrant who was teased for her weird name and her claim that she had 100 dresses. Nobody believed her as she looked poor and wore the same faded blue dress every day. Least had anyone expected that her 100 dresses will one day line up every ledge and window of her classroom to claim the first prize in the drawing contest. This interesting story is divided in two parts in your book. Let's read its first part with explanation, followed by significance of the title, moral of the story, summary, and question answers at the end. But before that, let's know about L. Besor Esther, who is the author of this story. L. Besor Esther, also known as Eleanor Estes, was born on 9th May 1906 in West Haven, Connecticut. She was an American children's author and children's librarian. Her book, Ginger Pie, for which she also created illustrations, won the Newbery Medal. 3 of her books were Newbery Honor winners, and one was awarded the Lewis Carroll Shelf Award. Esther's books were based on her life in small-town Connecticut in early 1900s. Esther had also won Caroline M. Hewins Scholarship for Children's Librarians in 1931. She died on 15 July 1988 in Hamden, Connecticut at the age of 82. In all, she had written around 20 books in her life. How do we judge people around us? By their money, wealth, and possessions? Or is there something of more enduring value to look for in a person? Enduring means lasting. This story is a sensitive account of how a poor young girl is judged by her classmates. Wanda Petronsky is a young Polish girl who goes to school with other American children in an American town. Polish are the natives of Poland. These other children see Wanda as different in many ways. Can you guess how they treat her? Before we read this story, let's read the small information which is given in this box. It is about the Polish American community in the United States. By Polish American, we mean they are basically immigrants from Poland who have settled down in America, and therefore this community is called as Polish American community. The first Polish immigrants arrived in America in 1608. Immigrants are people who come to live permanently in a foreign country. But the largest wave of Polish immigration occurred in the early 20th century when more than 1 million Poles migrated to the US. Poles is another word for Polish people, or in other words, native of Poland. The Polish state did not exist at that time, and the immigrants were identified according to their country of origin rather than to ethnicity. Ethnicity is the state of belonging to a social group with common traditions. They were identified as Russian Poles, German Poles, and Austrian Poles. One of the most notable Polish American communities is in Chicago and its suburbs. So, Chicago is sometimes called the second largest Polish city in the world, next only to Warsaw, the capital of Poland. Polish Americans were sometimes discriminated against in the US or United States as were the Irish, Italians, and Jews. According to the United States 2000 census, 6,67,414 Americans of age 5 years and older reported Polish as the language spoken at home, which is about 1.4% of the people who speak languages other than English, or 0.25% of the US population. After reading this, we get to know that the first Polish immigrants came to America in 1608. They formed a Polish American community in US, especially in Chicago. And that is why Chicago is also sometimes called as the second largest Polish city. But unfortunately, these Polish Americans had to face a lot of discrimination in the US. They were not treated well. The story that we are going to read today is about a girl, Wanda Petronsky, who was also a Polish American person. And while in school, she was made a lot of fun. Firstly, about her name, and secondly, about the way she lived. She belonged to a very poor family. She did not have many clothes to wear, and therefore she was always made fun of. Let's read this story and know what happens to her. Today, Monday, Wanda Petronsky was not in her seat. But nobody, not even Peggy and Madeline, the girls who started all the fun, noticed her absence. Usually, Wanda sat in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room number 13. She sat in the corner of the room where the rough boys who did not make good marks sat. The corner of the room where there was most scuffling of feet, most roars of laughter when anything funny was said, and most mud and dirt on the floor. Scuffling of feet means noisy, dragging movements of the feet on the ground. Wanda did not sit there because she was rough and noisy. On the contrary, she was very quiet and rarely said anything at all, and nobody had ever heard her laugh out loud. Sometimes she twisted her mouth into a crooked sort of smile, but that was all. Crooked means curved. Nobody knew exactly why Wanda sat in that seat, unless it was because she came all the way from Boggins Heights. Now, Boggins Heights is the name of the area where her house was, and she lived there with her family. And her feet were usually caked with dry mud. Caked means full of or covered. But no one really thought much about Wanda Petronsky once she sat in the corner of the room. It was Monday, and on that day, a girl named Wanda Petronsky had not come to school. She was absent. There were two more girls named Peggy and Madeline. They were the ones who had started all the fun. But even they did not notice her absence in the class. Wanda used to sit in the seat next to the last seat in the last row in room number 13. She sat in that corner room, and that was the corner where other rough boys of the class who always made noise, who always laughed out loud, and who made noise of their feet. That corner of the room was always so dirty, full of mud. She sat there with those boys. It wasn't because Wanda was noisy or rough. On the other hand, she was very quiet and very rarely she said something. She never even laughed. If there was something funny, she'll just curve her lips and smile. Nobody exactly knew why Wanda sat there. She lived in a place called Boggins Heights, where her house was, and she belonged to a very poor family. Her feet were always filled up with mud. And no one actually thought why Wanda Petronsky sat in that corner of the room. Maybe she wanted to stay away from other people. But what was the reason? Let's read ahead. The time when they thought about Wanda was outside of school hours, at noontime when they were coming back to school, or in the morning early before school began, when groups of 2 or 3 or even more would be talking and laughing on their way to the schoolyard. Then, sometimes, they waited for Wanda to have fun with her. Have fun with her means to tease her. The next day, Tuesday, Wanda was not in school either, and nobody noticed her absence again. But on Wednesday, Peggy and Maddie, who sat down front with other children who got good marks and who didn't track in a whole lot of mud, did notice that Wanda wasn't there. Peggy was the most popular girl in school. She was pretty, she had many pretty clothes, and her hair was curly. Maddie was her closest friend. The reason Peggy and Maddie noticed Wanda's absence was because Wanda had made them late to school. They had waited and waited for Wanda to have some fun with her, and she just hadn't come. They often waited for Wanda Petronsky to have fun with her. So we know now that Wanda was a very quiet girl. She rarely spoke or she rarely laughed. Her presence was never felt in the class. Now, on the second day, that is Tuesday, also she was absent, and again nobody took notice of her absence. There were two girls, Peggy and Maddie. They both sat in the front with other children who got good marks, and that corner of the class was very neat and clean. Peggy was the most popular girl in the school. She was pretty, she had many pretty clothes, her hair was curly, and Maddie was her closest friend. Maddie means Madeline. The reason why Peggy and Maddie now noticed Wanda's absence was because on that day, Wanda had made them late. And why? Because Peggy and Maddie used to wait for Wanda to come so that they could tease her. Since Wanda was absent that day, they both became late for school. They often waited for her just to tease her or make fun of her. Wanda Petronsky. Most of the children in room 13 didn't have names like that. They had names easy to say, like Thomas, Smith, or Alan. There was one boy named Bounce, Willie Bounce, and people thought that was funny, but not funny in the same way that Petronsky was. Wanda didn't have any friends. She came to school alone and went home alone. She always wore a faded blue dress, and that didn't hang right. Didn't hang right means didn't fit properly. It was clean, but it looked as though it had never been ironed properly. She didn't have any friends, but a lot of girls talked to her. Sometimes they surrounded her in the schoolyard as she stood watching the little girls play hopscotch on the worn, hard ground. Hopscotch is a game in which children hop into and over squares marked on the ground. Wanda, Peggy would say in a most courteous manner. Courteous means polite, as though she were talking to Miss Mason. Miss Mason is the name of their teacher. Wanda, she would say, giving one of her friends a nudge. Nudge is a gentle push. Tell us, how many dresses did you say you had hanging up in your closet? Closet means a cupboard. One of the reasons why Wanda Petronsky was made fun of was because of her name. She had a very different and difficult name. Mostly, everyone had very easy names to say, but this one was found very funny by others. Wanda didn't have any friends. She came to school all alone and went home all alone. She did not have many dresses to wear. All she wore was just a faded blue dress, which also did not fit her properly. But it was clean. Though it was never ironed properly, it was clean. She did not have many friends, but she was always surrounded by many girls whenever she stood in the schoolyard and watched little girls play hopscotch on the ground. Peggy knew that Wanda was a very poor girl. She always wore the same dress every day. But still, to tease her, she would always ask Wanda one question every day, and that was how many dresses she had in her cupboard. Now let's read ahead and see what did Wanda reply to her. 100, Wanda would say. 100? Exclaim all the little girls incredulously, and the little ones would stop playing hopscotch and listen. Incredulously means showing unwillingness to believe. Yea, 100, all lined up, said Wanda. Then her thin lips drew together in silence. What are they like? All silk, I bet, said Peggy. Yea, all silk, all colors. Velvet too. Yea, velvet too. 100 dresses. Wanda would repeat stolidly. Stolidly means not showing any feeling. All lined up in my closet. Then they would let her go. And then, before she had gone very far, they couldn't help bursting into shrieks and peals of laughter. Shrieks and peals of laughter means they laughed hard. 100 dresses. Obviously, the only dress Wanda had was the blue one she wore every day. So why did she say she had 100? What a story! How many shoes did you say you had? 60 pairs, all lined up in my closet. Cries of exaggerated politeness greeted this. All alike? Oh no, every pair is different, all colors, all lined up. Now, when Peggy asked her to tease her how many dresses Wanda had, at that time Wanda replied that she had 100 dresses. Everybody did not want to believe a girl who wore the same dress every day, a faded blue dress, was not believed to have 100 dresses in her cupboard. But still, to tease, Peggy would again ask her what they were like. Were they made of silk or velvet? And Wanda would answer her that they were made of silk as well as velvet, and they were all lined up in her closet. 100 dresses. And after that, the girls who teased her would let her go. When she had gone little far, they all would burst into laughter so as not to believe her. Sometimes Peggy would even ask her how many shoes she had, and at that time Wanda would reply her that she had 60 pairs, again all lined up in her closet. And then people would ask her, were they all alike? To that, Wanda used to reply that they were all in different colors but all lined up in her cupboard. Peggy, who had thought up this game, and Maddie, her inseparable friend, were always the last to leave. Finally, Wanda would move up the street, her eyes dull and her mouth closed, hitching her left shoulder every now and then in the funny way she had, finishing the walk to school alone. Hitching means lifting. Peggy was not really cruel. She protected small children from bullies. Bullies are those who use their strength or power to frighten weaker people. And she cried for hours if she saw an animal mistreated. If anybody had said to her, "Don't you think that is a cruel way to treat Wanda?" she would have been very surprised. Cruel? Why did the girl say she had 100 dresses? Anybody could tell that that was a lie. Why did she want to lie? And she wasn't just an ordinary person, else why did she have a name like that? Anyway, they never made her cry. Peggy was the one who came up with this idea of teasing Wanda, and Maddie was her best friend. So they both were always last ones to leave so that they could tease Wanda or make fun of her. But Wanda used to really keep quiet. She had very dull eyes. She was always quiet and lift her left shoulder every now and then in a very funny way. And she used to walk to school all alone. Peggy was actually not a very cruel person. She would protect small children from people who would mistreat them. She would hate those people who would mistreat the animals. But then, when she was asked why she used to behave like this with Wanda, Peggy always thought that why Wanda had to lie when everyone knew that she did not actually have 100 dresses. And she wasn't even just ordinary person, she had a different name. But anyways, even though they teased her, even though Peggy and Maddie teased her a lot, they never made her cry. As for Maddie, this business of asking Wanda every day how many dresses and how many hats and how many this and that she had was bothering her. Maddie was poor herself. She usually wore somebody's hand me down clothes. Hand me down clothes means old clothes, handed down by someone else. Thank goodness she didn't live up on Boggins Heights or have a funny name. Sometimes, when Peggy was asking Wanda those questions in that mocking, polite voice, mocking here means false, meant to make fun of, Maddie felt embarrassed. Embarrassed means ashamed, and studied the marbles in the palm of her hand, rolling them around and saying nothing herself. Not that she felt sorry for Wanda exactly. She would never have paid any attention to Wanda if Peggy hadn't invented the dresses game. But suppose Peggy and all others started in on her next. She wasn't as poor as Wanda perhaps, but she was poor. Of course, she would have more sense than to say she had 100 dresses. Still, she would not like for them to begin on her. She wished Peggy would stop teasing Wanda Petronsky. Peggy had invented that game of dresses for Wanda, but Maddie was not very happy with it. She basically did not like to ask Wanda every day how many dresses she had, how many hats she had, how many this or that she had, because Maddie herself was poor. She also used to wear clothes which were old clothes or given by someone else. But she always thanked God that she didn't live up on Boggins Heights, that is, wherever Wanda was living, and she didn't have a funny name. Otherwise, everyone would have made fun of her too. But whenever Peggy used to ask Wanda those questions, Maddie felt little embarrassed. It wasn't because she had a soft corner for Wanda. She wouldn't have even noticed her presence had Peggy not invented that game. But her only concern was that Maddie did not want that same game to be on her in future. She did not want to answer those questions. If in case Peggy had started that dresses game on her, then she felt what would she answer? Of course, she was poor. She wouldn't have answered that she had 100 dresses. But then still, she wouldn't have liked that game to begin on her. And she wished in her heart of hearts that Peggy should stop teasing Wanda Petronsky just because she did not want to be the next target. Today, even though they had been late to school, Maddie was glad she had not had to make fun of Wanda. She worked her arithmetic problems absent mindedly. 8 times 8. Let's see. She wished she had the nerve to write Peggy a note because she knew she never would have the courage to speak right out to Peggy to say, "Hey Peggy, let's stop asking Wanda how many dresses she has." When she finished her arithmetic, she did start a note to Peggy. Suddenly she paused and shuddered. Shuddered means trembled or shook. She pictured herself in the schoolyard, a new target. Target here is a person deliberately chosen for attack. She got the dress that she had on, and Maddie would have to say it was one of Peggy's old ones that Maddie's mother had tried to disguise with new trimmings so no one in room 13 would recognize it. Disguise means give a different appearance, and trimmings means decorations. The previous few paragraphs had told us the daily task or the daily routine of these girls in the school, that how Wanda was teased by Peggy and Maddie, and how did Wanda actually face them. Now, from this paragraph, we come back to the present day, that is the second day when Wanda had been absent consecutively. So, now here, today, Maddie was not very happy. She actually wanted to tell Peggy that she should stop making fun of Wanda. She also tried to write a note to Peggy, but then she stopped herself. She trembled. She thought that she cannot picture herself in the schoolyard as the next target after Wanda. Peggy might ask her where she got that dress which she was wearing, and Maddie will not be able to tell her that it was actually Peggy's old dress which her mother had handed over to Maddie's mother, and Maddie's mother had changed or given that dress a different appearance by adding some decorations or trimmings on that dress so that nobody in room 13 will be able to recognize that it was an old dress of Peggy. So actually, Maddie did not want her reality to come out, and so she wanted Peggy to stop that game of dresses with Wanda so that in future that same game should not come on Maddie as well. If only Peggy would decide of her own accord to stop having fun with Wanda. Of her own accord means on her own. Oh well, Maddie ran her hand through her short blonde hair as though to push the uncomfortable thoughts away. What difference did it make? Slowly, Maddie tore into bits the note she had started. She was Peggy's best friend, and Peggy was the best liked girl in the whole room. Peggy could not possibly do anything that was really wrong, she thought. As for Wanda, she was just some girl who lived up on Boggins Heights and stood alone in the schoolyard. She scarcely ever said anything to anybody. Scarcely means rarely. The only time she talked was in the schoolyard about her 100 dresses. Maddie remembered her telling about one of her dresses, pale blue with colored trimmings. And she remembered another that was brilliant jungle green with a red sash. You'd look like a Christmas tree in that, the girls had said in pretended admiration. Pretended means not real. So Maddie, who wanted to tell Peggy to stop that game of dresses, also stopped writing the note. She did not want to tell this to Peggy because she was Peggy's best friend and Peggy was the best liked girl in the whole room. So Maddie thought that whatever Peggy is doing cannot be wrong. And as for Wanda, she thought that Wanda was just any other girl who lived on Boggins Heights. That was the name of the area where her house was. And she stood alone in the schoolyard. She never said anything to anybody except for answering that she had 100 dresses. Maddie remembered Wanda telling her about one of her dresses. One dress was pale blue with colored trimmings. And then Maddie remembered Wanda telling about another dress, a second dress, which was a brilliant green color with a red sash. When Wanda had told about the green dress, everyone thought or everyone teased her by saying that she must be looking like a Christmas tree in that dress. Thinking about Wanda and her 100 dresses all lined up in the closet, Maddie began to wonder who was going to win the drawing and coloring contest. For girls, this contest consisted of designing dresses, and for boys, for designing motorboats. Probably Peggy would win the girls' medal. Peggy drew better than anyone else in the room. At least, that's what everybody thought. She could copy a picture in the magazine or some film star's head so that you could almost tell who it was. Oh, Maddie was sure Peggy would win. Well, tomorrow the teacher was going to announce the winners. Then they would know. The next day it was drizzling. Maddie and Peggy hurried to school under Peggy's umbrella. Naturally, on a day like this, they didn't wait for Wanda Petronsky on the corner of Oliver Street, the street that far, far away under the railroad tracks and up the hill led to Boggins Heights. Anyway, they weren't taking chances on being late today because today was important. There was a contest to be held in the class, and that contest was drawing and coloring contest. Girls were told to design dresses and boys were told to design motorboats. Peggy was the best artist in that entire class. Everybody thought that she would win the girls' medal because she could draw everything or anything perfectly out of magazine. So Maddie was sure that Peggy would win, and the next day the teacher was going to announce the winners. The next day it was drizzling. Drizzling means a very light rain. Maddie and Peggy hurried to school. They did not wait for Wanda to come to tease her. And because they did not want to get late, so they hurried to their school because that day was very important. Do you think Miss Mason will announce the winners today? Asked Peggy. Oh, I hope so. The minute we get in, said Maddie. Of course you'll win, Peg. Hope so, said Peggy eagerly. The minute they entered the classroom, they stopped short and gasped. Gasped means breathe heavily. There were drawings all over the room, on every ledge and windowsill, dazzling colors and brilliant, lavish designs. Ledge means shelf, and lavish means very grand. All drawn on great sheets of wrapping paper. There must have been 100 of them all lined up. These must be the drawings for the contest. They were. Everybody stopped and whistled or murmured admiringly. As soon as the class had assembled, Miss Mason announced the winners. Jack Beggles had won for the boys, she said, and his design for an outboard motor was on exhibition in room 12, along with the sketches by all other boys. Peggy and Maddie, both of them expected that Peggy would win and Miss Mason will announce the winners today. But the minute they entered the classroom, they stopped and breathed heavily. There were drawings all over the room, on every shelf, on window sill, all in dazzling, that is, bright, brilliant colors, and all designs were lavish. They were all drawn on great sheets of wrapping paper, and there must have been at least 100 of those drawings all in a line. Of course, they were for the contest, and everybody stopped, everybody praised about those drawings. As soon as the class had assembled, Miss Mason, that is their teacher, came in and she announced the winners. From the boys group, Jack Beggles had won because he had designed an outboard motor, and that was kept on exhibition in room 12 along with the sketches of all other boys. As for the girls, she said, although just one or two sketches were submitted by most, one girl and room 13 should be proud of her. This one girl actually drew 100 designs, all different and all beautiful. In the opinion of the judges, any one of the drawings is worthy of winning the prize. I am very happy to say that Wanda Petronsky is the winner of the girls' medal. Unfortunately, Wanda has been absent from school for some days and is not here to receive the applause. Applause means clapping that is due to her. Let us hope she will be back tomorrow. Now, class, you may file around the room quietly and look at her exquisite drawings. File around means walk around in a line. Exquisite means extremely beautiful and well made. The children burst into applause. Burst into applause means suddenly and spontaneously clapped hands. And even the boys were glad to have a chance to stamp on the floor, put their fingers in their mouths and whistle, though they were not interested in dresses. Look, Peg, whispered Maddie. That's that blue one she told us about. Isn't it beautiful? Yes, said Peggy, and here's that green one. Boy, and I thought I could draw. After announcing the boys' winner, Miss Mason announced the winner of the girls' group, and she told that one girl had made all those 100 designs which were all different and all beautiful, and any one of those designs is worth winning the prize. The girl who had made all those 100 drawings was Wanda Petronsky, and she was the winner of the girls' medal. Wanda had been absent from school for some days, but she'll be soon there to receive. Everybody applauded, they whistled, and even the boys who did not show any interest in dresses were also stamping their feet and whistling to show their happiness. When Maddie and Peg went around to see at her designs, Maddie recognized one drawing which was of the blue dress which Wanda had once talked about to Maddie. And then Peck recognized another drawing in which there was the drawing of a green dress which had a red sash, which was made fun of because everybody had said that Wanda might look like a Christmas tree in that dress. Everybody had thought that Peggy would win the prize. Nobody had expected that Wanda could do such a beautiful thing. And in fact, Peggy herself was surprised to look at the talent of Wanda, whom they teased every day. The title of the story is significant because the story revolves around this poor little girl who doesn't have the resources to buy and wear new clothes like her other classmates. She wears the same clean but ill fitting faded blue dress. But Wanda was a gifted painter. She had drawn exquisite 100 designs of beautiful dresses which she always desired to possess. If she had the fabric, she would have made 100 real dresses. And that's why she called them dresses and not designs. Therefore, I feel that the title is appropriate for this story. Through the story, the author gives the message that one should never be judged on the basis of their looks or economic conditions, as in the end, it's the talent and potential of an individual that matters. The story also conveys a beautiful message of compassion and forgiveness. Wanda is a victim of bullying. Still, she forgives those who harassed her. At the end, Peggy and Maddie realize their mistake. The story also conveys that we should not hurt or ridicule others simply because they are different from us. Mutual respect and love are the only things that can help us live in harmony. We should not only abstain from making others miserable, but should also speak up boldly whenever we see any wrong being done. This is where I end my session. I'll flash the summary in written form and question answers right at the end. And I hope to see you again in my next video with a new topic. Till then, take good care of yourself. Love you all and thank you so much.